Hey everyone, thank you for being here. My name is Naveen, the host of Sounds On and Off. We're a podcast that is dedicated towards showcasing different perspectives around deaf culture, hearing health, decision making, and many more. In each episode, we will bring on various guests that will share their unique stories and the path that they're on today in hopes that you will learn from their experiences about the topic of hearing. We hope you enjoy the show.
Thanks again for being here so we can chat with you. Naveen, who is our host, is here today, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Naveen. I recently graduated from UC Berkeley, and I'm a cochlear implant user as well. I have both implants on both ears, and right now I'm just trying to apply for med school and go on that path.
So we were hoping, Melissa, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, so Naveen and I can also get to know a little bit about you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Melissa. Sign name looks like this, long curly hair. What can I say? I went to school previously, but I'm not going to school right now. I'm focusing on work.
What do you do for work?
I work on the farm with the horses, doing things around the farm. Also, I work as an assistant at a tax office, helping with paperwork and copies and processing things, making sure everything gets collected and filed and organized. Help them out.
How did you get into working and taking care of horses?
Really, I grew up as a young kid in a farm family when I was really young, and I always loved the horses. I loved watching the horses and watching the plants grow. My grandfather loved planting the crops, and I learned a lot from my grandfather and my mom as well. So it was just growing up, and I still work on them. And I've got a friend that works with horses, and I had applied to help her out. And in high school and college, I was focused on a lot of that. But I'm not doing school anymore, so I'm working on a small farm. I don't really work on the farm as much, just the horses. If a horse is injured or something, I help out with that. I help keep the barn clean. I ride the horses to keep them exercised. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I went to UC Davis for undergrad, and there's a large vet school there and mostly focusing on large animals. And so we definitely had a lot of that going around on campus, and you could see a lot of animals, even just walking around.
Yeah, I want to go to UC Davis. I'd really like to go to university. My second mother graduated from UC Davis wanting to become a vet, but ended up taking a different job. I'm very interested in UC Davis. I would love to become a vet. I always wanted to when I was younger. When I grew up, I wanted to be a vet. I have worked previously as a veterinarian assistant, cleaning small dogs and cats and little birds. I did a lot of learning there. But I only worked there for a year, and then I transferred departments and I was working with the horses and learned a lot there, obviously. And now that's what I'm doing. I still think about UC Davis though and becoming a vet for the large animals with horses. It's a hard decision, but growing up I always wanted to become a dairy farmer. Really, so I've been ambivalent between these goals for a little while.
Wow, that is really neat. Are you also into dairy products and cheeses and stuff? Is that why? Or mostly for the animals?
Really, when I was young, I just saw so much beautiful farmland and the crops and the animals. And there was a really lovely dairy farm nearby. When I had asked what's going on over there, it was a dairy farm, and I know they have the milk and the cream, and they make the cheese there, and also, obviously, taking care of the cows. And they've got to grow and collect all the foods, the grasses, and the hay, and the corn, and everything for the cows, and make sure they're fed and well kept and everything. That's just fascinating.
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you for sharing all that with us. That's so, so neat. I could definitely relate to a lot of what you said as well. I grew up in Syria, and so a lot of people actually had to do this stuff for just to live and provide their own goods. And so I'm so intrigued by how you got interested in it. That's why I was asking all those questions. So thank you for sharing.
So yeah, like I said a little bit about myself earlier, I grew up with cochlear implants. I had them when I was 4 years old, and I've been using them, from then on throughout my life. So I just wanted to know a little bit about yourself and on how you came to the point where you got implants later on in your life. I was really curious about that because my mom had gotten me cochlear implants at a young age so that, I could be able to communicate with my family and also my family back in India.
Okay, really, I was born deaf and I have two sisters who are deaf as well. And my mom wanted to give us cochlear implants, but the doctor had said, no, wait until they're 18. My older sister didn't have any interest in a cochlear implant, but I did. I wanted a cochlear implant. I kept telling my mom I was curious about them. I wanted to know more about them. I grew up using hearing aids. When I was 14 in 8th grade, I got new hearing aids and I kept telling my mom I wanted cochlear implants. We did go back to the doctor and the doctor said no, and the reasoning was because of deaf culture and linguistic development and everything else. But then I found out that my neighbor really supported getting a cochlear implant and said, yes, please do. So we had the neighbor as a family support help us look and find another doctor that would hopefully approve me. I was 18 years old when I found a doctor at UCSF that was supportive and approved me and said, yeah, let's do this. Because I wanted a cochlear, my mom wanted a cochlear. She wanted me to be supported in the future. My family is in Russia, and you look at Russian culture and they're all Russian and they don't speak English. I got the cochlear implant and I wasn't really able to communicate with my family because they don't speak English, they speak Russian. My other family spoke English and was very supportive, and I was able to get approved because the doctor was able to speak with the family that spoke English. Is that a year ago, 2 years ago? I can't remember. When I was 19, I had the surgery. Yeah, I was 19. 20? I was almost 20. I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. I was about to be 20 when I had surgery. I got my first cochlear implant and it was pretty awkward at first. It took a lot of practice, but finally I got to where I would feel comfortable and it really did help me a lot. I was able to hear ambient sounds that I hadn't been able to pick up with my hearing aid. I still have the other hearing aid, but it didn't seem to be as much of a help anymore, just for basic words, basic environmental sounds. But the cochlear implant was a lot different. So then I got to really think about it with a little bit of experience, and I did want the second one. My mom was very supportive. She said, it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I went ahead and got the second one, and wow, I feel so much better. So much more comfortable and balanced now with 2 cochlear implants. It's great.
That's good. I can relate to all you went through because I also, had to practice a lot. I also had to go to speech therapy. My mom was my main support, and she did it throughout. Because my mom also came from India. She's also, she didn't speak English then, and then she had to learn it herself, and then get me cochlear implants and go through all of that. So I could relate to you on all those.
Yeah, it's tough. With the Russian family and the English family, both sides, it's tough. My mom speaks Russian, but English really helped a lot because I grew up with ASL. And then changing that to English it's tough. Trying to go between 3 languages was really rough, but being able to just go between ASL and English was easier because I grew up integrated in schools with hearing children from kindergarten through 17. I really did think about transferring and going to the deaf residential school, so I did for 1 year. I went there for my senior year at CSF. I went to that school for 1 year and I learned so much there. Deaf people are so different than the hearing public, but I didn't feel a huge connection. I felt very strongly connected to my hearing family in the mainstream school. I felt disconnected and discriminated against at the deaf residential school. That was really a struggle. I kind of felt like I was suffering through that, especially when I said that I wanted cochlear implants. The people there would be like, "No, but you are deaf." "Yeah, but no, I want cochlear implants." It was hard, and I kept trying to tell them it's my decision, it's how I feel comfortable. And I would give a lot of pushback to people there, like, "You can't discriminate against me. This is how I feel inside. It's my heart. It's my life." And at some point, people did start to understand, but I knew that I just felt more connected to people who could hear. That was my life experience. It wasn't easy for me at the deaf school. I didn't feel connected. I felt kind of left out. It was tough. It was hard.
Yeah, for me, I feel connected to the hearing community as well. Because I grew up in with my brother. He's not deaf, so and all my cousins. So being able to speak with them and interact with them with my implants definitely helped a lot. But even without my implants, I can still pick up what they're saying because I know how to lip read well. So it's a combination of the two.
Again, my sister is deaf, and when I got my cochlear implants, she saw how motivated I was, and I really studied speech, reading, and everything else. And she said, "Wow, I didn't know that cochlear implants could really help that much. You are deaf." Then I was able to tell her, yes, they've helped me a lot. I really like them. And I suggested that she thinks about it. She said no, she identifies very much with the deaf community, and of course, I support that entirely. But other people that have known me for a long time after I got the cochlear implants are like, "Wow, things have improved so much for you." And I say, yes, affirmative, it has. It's my favorite. I love the cochlear implants. I use them every day. I always will. Some people think that, well, were you a little bit concerned? Are they awkward? Sometimes do you not like them? No, I love them.
Yeah, same. I love my cochlear implants.
And Melissa, thank you so much for sharing that. And Naveen, too. I think, something that I think a lot of people who might come to this podcast, our audience might be so interested in learning. There's a lot of parents, as you may know, Melissa, like Naveen's, who make this decision for their children so early on, thinking, will my child be okay with this decision when they're 18, when they're 20? And so something I'd love to learn from you is how did it feel making that decision as an adult?
I think it would have been better if I'd gotten my implants as a baby, but the thing is, you need more family support. If you have no family support, it's tough. You have to have your family really supporting you, and I'm happy that this was successful. And I wish that I'd gotten my implants when I was a baby. I really do, because I have friends who did grow up having implants. They got them when they were babies, and she's very successful, and she's a hearing person, kind of like Naveen. She's always had them. Now, as an adult, that I decided to get them myself and I got implants as an adult, it's okay. I love it, but it was a lot of work.
thank you so much for sharing that. I think, just in speaking even with a few parents, they were really they had that question on their mind. And, thanks to you, I think having this perspective and just that thought that you had to go through as an adult is really helpful, because often when you're in the doctor's office, the doctor only knows so much, and hearing these kinds of experiences that you've had, I think will be so helpful for people.
It's a tough decision. It really is. My mom's decision was tough. And deciding to go with the hearing aids first, honestly, the hearing aids didn't really help me very much. The cochlear implant really did. It was integrated and it's a hard question. It really is, my opinion. Go ahead and put the implants on babies.
Yeah, I would definitely do that if I have a kid, because, I went through the whole process, and then I would be able to, I would make that decision for my kid to have a cochlear implant, because, yeah, I would not want them to, go through. I mean, they will have the choice to take it off if they want to, but, my mom made that decision. I fully supported it, and I would do it.
Yeah, me too.
And then the other side of the coin, right, is folks maybe like your sisters, Melissa, who, feel very well integrated with deaf culture and their deaf community. And that's okay too, right? Because just like I speak Arabic, your family speaks Russian, Naveen's family may speak another language too. There's access for people. And that's what's so beautiful about different cultures, right? Is we have access to live within our culture, but then there's other ways for us to communicate outside of that culture through interpretation as one of the means. And so we're hoping that learning from you, learning from Naveen, learning from other folks, we showcase that it's okay for those parents, whatever decision you make, whether it's Naveen making the decision as a child or for you as an adult and giving you that decision. Or for your sister, your mom gave her the right to make that decision too. At the end of the day, you're all doing well and you're succeeding in your lives.
Yeah, I did notice when I was attending the school for the deaf, the residential school, I noticed that there were several girls and boys that had cochlear implants too. One girl had gotten hers when she was a baby and had grown up and still decided to go to the school for the deaf. And she decided to take them off because the entire environment there was sign language. She didn't need them, so she took them off and didn't use them. But for me, going to the integrated school, the mainstream school with all of the other students who could hear, I needed them and I wanted cochlear implants. And then she had a similar experience, but when she went into the deaf school, she took hers off. So I asked her one day, I was like, why did you take them off? Because you came to school? But that was her experience. She didn't have to work as hard to learn how to use them, I guess, as maybe I did. But we were good friends, and I had texted her and told her these cochlear implants really helped me a lot. And she said, nah, she was going to have surgery to completely remove them. But for me, when I had surgery to get them on, I had to do a lot of practice to learn all and to on myself practicing, and I noticed that it was easier to pick up things after. When I was doing a lot of work and then it started resolving became easier. It's just comparing different life stories. It's so different between one experience and another.
Exactly. And that's why we're so lucky to have you speaking with us today, because you bring such a unique and interesting perspective that we're so lucky to learn from. How does having cochlear implants also change your relationship with your horses and other animals?
Yeah, really, it's a big change. Everything in my life has changed because before with hearing aids, they really didn't do much. I was always taking them off because they weren't helping. Now I've got the cochlear implants. I'm learning so much. I'm picking up so much that I didn't have before. I can hear airplanes and trains, and I can hear things at work. I can hear the horses. I can hear the farm sounds. I can hear the horses yelling at me. I was like, wow, I haven't heard the sounds that they make before. I wish that I'd had this when I was younger, when I could have heard and recognized the different sounds. Because now that I can hear them, the first time it was amazing and I'm just completely fascinated. I'm curious. I want to hear everything now. I want to hear more. I want to hear more dogs, cats, horses, sheep. Everything that I've heard is so different and it's changed my life. Because before, I didn't really have any of that. It was boring and dull. I could hear a little bit here and there, but now that I can hear everything, it's just amazing. I can hear what the horses want. They're talking to me. I can hear them when they're saying that they want food, or when they're laughing, or when they're yelling at me. I can hear when the goats are yelling at me or when the chickens are squawking, all the different things. I love it. I love being able to hear these things, hearing the birds sing when I'm cleaning the barn, and all the different sounds that I can hear. Some people ask if it bothers me and I want to take them out. No. When I first got them, yes, it was awkward, it was different, it was hard. And it was a process to figure out the right programming, the right volume level, the right sequencing, so that they would match for me and make everything work. But then once I started learning how to use them and understanding what I was hearing, it was just amazing. You hear the goat just bleat at you and it's hilarious. It makes me laugh so hard. The horse is snorting and neighing. It's fun.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because I can't really relate to that because I grew up with the implant my whole life. So, for you to not hear for that long span, then finally get to hear everything, it must be great.
Comparison, I've had the hearing aids and I've had the cochlear implants, and I did take the cochlear implant off and put my hearing aids on to just test what's the difference. With my hearing aids, I can hear some of the barn sounds, just basic. It's a very low level of sound. There's not much, it's just the little sounds. But when I put the cochlear implants, then I can feel the heartbeat of the barn. I can hear the door open and shift my attention to that. Hearing aids didn't really help me very much. I tried to take the cochlear implant off, and with just the hearing aid, and I can't hear anything. When I put my cochlear back on, every interaction is different. So then I decided to get a second one because I had one hearing aid and one cochlear, and it was unbalanced. And one was no good and unhelpful and didn't do anything. And the other one made my life better. So I got the second cochlear and my life has improved so much.
We're so happy to hear that. That's incredible. And again, just thanks so much for sharing that experience. I can only imagine what it was like when you turned them on and heard those sounds for the first time.
Yeah, now that since you made the choice to get cochlear implants later on, in your life, I just wanted to know a little bit about what are your plans for the future regarding, your cochlear implants or, your interactions in the future with other people.
Well, really, the reason that I finally did get them was for my job. I wanted to get a good job. I want to be a vet. I want to work with horses. I want to be able to hear everything and be successful in becoming a vet. Big goals. I want to be able to communicate with people, and it's so much easier now because I can hear them. I can sign and I can hear, so I can communicate. And as far as my future, well, I want to become a vet, and for that, I need to be able to communicate with anyone who comes in. Right now, they are already helping me so much, communicating in everyday life at work. I used to be able to communicate in sign language and speak a little bit, but now I can do both and it's fully integrated, and it just feels great.
Yeah, that's great. But also, anybody, even if you have a cochlear implant or don't have cochlear implants, they will be able to do great things in the future. The community is, I just wanted to say, we're all in this together. So, even without cochlear implants, such as myself, if I were to take them off, I feel like I could still do great things. I just wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to share with people regarding their hearing health? Such as your sisters who are deaf, or with people who have hearing aids or cochlear implants.
Really, I could take my cochlears off and use my hearing aids, but I would say, well, yes, my future will be great with or without cochlear implants. If I couldn't get cochlear implants, then I'd find another support, family, or whatever. But with my supportive family, I was able to get my cochlear implants, and it's great.
I want to say thank you so much for chatting with us today. I hope this was as helpful for you as it was for us and everyone who might be participating in our podcast through listening or through watching. And I hope that we get to follow up with you in a few years and learn about all the amazing things that you're going to accomplish.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure that everybody who's listening to this will.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or would like to suggest a topic for us to cover on a future episode, please send us an email at silencepodcast21@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us for our next episode.